Hi everyone, it's Kristen Redman, and today we're going to go over those planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this week, November 28th through December 4th. And this week we have such an opportunity for renewed hope and optimism and faith thanks to the new moon that's going to be occurring in the sign of Sagittarius tomorrow, the 29th. And you know what's interesting with the new moon is that we have one every month, and it kind of represents the new beginnings that occur, and it gives us an opportunity every month to kind of put our seeds and intentions of hope for change into this fertile, tilled up, brand new soil like it would be in a field, okay? And we get this chance to take our little seed of hope and plant it into that field and wait for the blessings to come, right? And it's interesting, just like a real seed that you would plant in the ground, right? The hardest part is waiting for that seed to germinate and pop up out of the ground so you know and see the fruits of your labor that something's actually happened. It's like we have to have this faith that everything's working under the surface when we don't have any control over it. And so tomorrow's new moon kind of carries that energy even more so than any of the new moons that we have in the zodiac and in the year. It represents having that faith in the darkest time when we can't see what's happening, that the things that we've asked for and prayed for and intended to happen and set our intentions and manifestations for, that it's going to come through. And it may not be the way we want, but it's going to change because we've put it out there and we have that hope that it will. Okay, that's the number one important thing to making your manifesting happening, is to believe and know that it's going to come, or even believe that it's already happened and say thank you for this, even if you haven't seen it actually happen yet. Let's say you're looking for a job, you would plant this seed for hope for change in this new moon tomorrow because it's expanding you beyond your limitations, right? That's what Sagittarius is about, is expanding and exploring beyond the limiting restrictions that we're in right now. So let's say you want a new job. You put that hope in there, and then you wait, and you just have to believe that that job is already there. And then you send that out into the universe and say, thank you, universe, for bringing me this wonderful new opportunity where I can grow and I can provide for my family and I can feel a sense of worth and pride and live in my purpose. Thank you for giving me that, Lord. Thank you for bringing me that, universe. Saying that is already telling God and telling the universe, I know it's going to happen, so you know what's going to happen. It will come. Tomorrow's new moon strengthens our energy. It strengthens our faith that we believe these things will happen. Okay. It's interesting because Sagittarius is the most faith-filled, religiously focused, spiritually focused of all of the signs in the zodiac. Sagittarius is. And so tomorrow we kind of have a chance to really honestly look at our faith system, our belief system. We get an opportunity to look at what our religion tells us compared to what it is we believe on the inside. You have to remember, in astrology, a new moon is a time when the sun and the moon align, okay? And anytime planets align in astrology, they take on each other's energy for that little bit of time when they pass one another. And the sun and the moon are the most important. They're called the luminaries. They're the most important aspects of our lives. I mean, you see how they affect us on a daily basis, but they're also the most important astrologically in our charts as well. The sun represents our outer self and how we act in this world, and the moon represents our inner self, our intuition, and how we know things. So when those two guys align, it's like our knowing, our intuition, our knowing and our thinking aligns with our actions. For that time, we are fully aware and we're fully illuminated how our thoughts create reality. And this is especially true in tomorrow's new moon because we have Neptune, the planet of transcending our physical bodies and connecting our soul directly with God and with the creating energy of God. Neptune is making a connection with this new moon tomorrow, this powerful new moon about faith and optimism and hope and expanding beyond ourselves and those limitations of Scorpio's past, those losses where the cycle in life has ended and now it's time to bring in these new beginnings. Neptune aligns with that tomorrow, and it really strengthens our bond with God and with our spiritual team that's around us the angels and our guides, they start coming through even stronger, because this new moon wants us to kind of reestablish our structures for our faith and what it is that we believe. And the thing is, whatever thoughts come to you, don't discount them. Don't feel like you're being a blasphemer because you want to question what it is that the Bible says, okay? You have to remember, everybody, that the Bible was kind of thrown together in this attempt, and it was a very politically driven attempt as well, years and years, 300 years after Jesus had passed. So a lot of these books that made it in, these people didn't even know Jesus. They didn't travel with him, okay? So I completely understand that there's a lot of truth in the Word. Absolutely, I do. I'm a Christian. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school. I completely understand. There is a lot of truth in the Bible, but I feel there's a lot of truth that was retracted as well. And my soul has been learning much, much more. I mean, I've learned this through my whole life. I've always questioned these things, but in the past couple of years, Mary Magdalene has come to me, not physically, but I have felt her presence, and she works with me in my dreams to really see the truth of what Jesus' mission was here. And that was a mission to really love one another, to help one another transform, and to live in the unique purpose that we have. And this moon tomorrow gives us an opportunity to kind of ask Jesus directly, or Mary Magdalene, how do I align my male and female energies of knowing and doing? How do I make my thoughts become reality? How do I trust and have faith that God will provide? And it gives you an opportunity to kind of ask Jesus yourself, hey man, what was it that you came here to do? You taught to love one another. What does that mean? How do I do that? How do I love myself? How do I do these things? And you know what's interesting that I've learned through all of this myself is that one of the main things Jesus wants us to know is that he was human just like us. He had anger and fear and passion too, a lot like every one of us. And that it's not wrong for us to all go through these feelings and to go through these times. I think the main thing out of it all is to learn acceptance of one another and to understand and accept that in each one of us, that none of us are perfect, right? And when we do that, when we come from a place of love, we live from our heart center. And when we live through our heart center and give and receive of that energy through that heart and give and receive of that acceptance of one another, we are in constant communion with God and the Spirit and the message that he has. Because the same energy that radiates through him radiates through this amazing universe that he created. And in each one of us is that same exact energy of God. And this new moon gives us a chance to really connect with it. It gives us a chance to really focus on our goals for this coming year and our goals in general and how we want things to change. Mercury moving into the sign of Capricorn on Friday is also going to strengthen that ability, because Mercury represents our thought process. Okay, it's how our mind works, and Capricorn is all about setting boundaries and structures, new plans, strong, solid plans for moving into the future. A lot of energy behind that as well. So we are given this opportunity this week to really focus on how we perceive our faith, how we perceive our religion, how we perceive our God, how we connect with our God. It gives us an opportunity to really focus on maybe a new routine, just making 10 minutes a day to connect with God in any way that you see fit is a wonderful way to really reestablish that faith in him, and that seed is going to grow into something wonderful and big as a blessing for you in the end. Another thing that's going to be happening this week too is kind of a little sign from Jupiter. Like I said, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So this week we have Jupiter and Mars making a trine. It's a very harmonious connection that hasn't happened this year at all. And Mars is the planet of really being driven to succeed and to lead and to get things done. Jupiter is about really reaching and expanding for our goals, right? We talked about that with Sagittarius. So this week, this is a really very fantastic energy to really push beyond where you've been and have that energy, motivation, and drive to really reach for those dreams. And don't forget, we've got Mercury and Capricorn coming through too as well at the end of the week to help us really set up a stable and structured plan to get that done. Okay, So let's do a little bit of a reading here, to see what energies are around us as well, and all of this optimism and hope as we plant those seeds and know that they're germinating in that ground below us. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, yep. Look at that. Wow, isn't that something? Isn't that something? Same kind of stone giant stone I was holding in my hand here. I grabbed the little stone of it right here. And ironically enough, this is Archangel Raguel, the angel for Sagittarian energy. He's the angel that helps bring harmony and balance to our relationships with ourselves, with our Creator, with our spirit, and with the people that surround us, the closest relationships in us. He's the harmonizer of the angels. He is in the color of the Mother Mary blue, and he helps to bring peace and harmony. So let's kind of see what Raguel has to say for us this week. Balancing those scales and finding that faith. I'm going to do this 4 times, I feel, because I've talked so much about getting structure and plans moving forward and leaving the hurt of the past behind. So let's see, Raguel, what do you want us to say? This last one here. Yeah, that went together really nicely. Okay, isn't that interesting? The Knight of Water. Isn't that something? Well, the main thing with this card, okay, is it represents having that energy to really balance our emotional needs and to really focus on that. Any of these water cards are going to focus a lot on emotion and intuition, and there's so much of that spiritual connection that goes with this week here. So keep in mind that that's going to be a major energy that's going to be carrying through the week, that it's going to be perhaps a little bit of an emotional week, kind of working through these wounds and kind of putting these things into the past, but it really brings in wonderful new opportunities. This is also a card of falling in love, it says, or getting a wedding proposal or something along those lines. It really is a card of, this is how I'm going to say it. Check this out, okay? Look at this. We've got, pretend that's you, right? Down here, you've got that cup under the water that you can't see, much like that new moon with planting your seed. It's down here, and that blessing is there, and he's not searching to see where it is. He just has that faith that it's going to happen. And you know how he's doing that? He's not letting his emotions get the better of him because he doesn't see what's in that cup. He's balancing those emotions with his intuition and knowing that it's coming, because it will, just like he does. He brings that balance and harmony for us. Let's see what else Raguel has to say. This one I'm going to do 7 times, because 7 is the house of relationships and partnerships and marriage and things along those lines in the astrology wheel. And I feel like there's a lot of relationship energy that's going on with that, losses of relationships that are going to be put into this new moon for either renewal or guidance as how to move past them. One more. It's like I can hear him in my head. So one more. Okay. Impatience. Look at that. Yet another blue. So much blue. So much blue. So much about the throat center. Isn't that interesting? I was kind of choking earlier on myself there. The throat center, all of this here. We'll start with that because we've got so much blue. The throat chakra here is what gives us the ability to voice what it is we need to say, and it also gives us the ability to be heard as well by the other person. A lot of that balancing of energy that's in there. And with this card in particular, impatience, of course, is that this is such a perfect card for this. This card's main intent is that we've planted that seed. Look at this dude's even putting his seed into the moon. Isn't that ironic? The thing with this one is literally being impatient as we wait for these blessings to come through, and we really so badly want to dig that seed up to see how it's doing. And in that process, we start it all over again because we didn't have enough faith. This card reminds us, just keep holding on, right? But it's so hard, isn't it? It's so hard, and the best way to do it is just trust, isn't it? Let's just trust this week. Work on that. Number one thing we can do is just say, God, help me to learn how to trust myself and to trust you better. I guess that's the bottom line as I wait for these blessings to come, whether it's falling in love, beginning a new relationship, finding that job, whatever it is, having that patience and faith is the hardest part. So this week, let's do that. Call on Archangel Raguel to help you with any kind of bumps you see along the way. And just know that those seeds that you've planted will grow. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Goodbye.